Hi and welcome back to a new video. This video is going to be about the RTX 4090 Matrix, which was released over a year ago. And pretty much a year ago, we published a video on this channel where I was testing, also disassembling the card. And I had a little bit of mixed thoughts about the card, especially when it comes to the price. And then the fact that the cold plate was not nickel plated, which is far from ideal for the purpose, because they applied liquid metal between the GPU and the cold plate. Last year in October, I was participating in an ASUS overclocking event. I think it was about the 14th gen Intel CPUs that were not out at this point. And I received a surprising email, which was about this card. It is a special RTX 4090 Matrix that was displayed at Computex last year and signed by the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang. And it was on auction. It was a charity auction where I bid $16,000 US. And it was mainly because it's a charity auction. Obviously, even with no matter what signature, I would not put $16,000 US for an RTX 4090 Matrix, but it was for a good cause, for Make-A-Wish. And then I received this email, which was surprising because at the meantime, I even ordered a normal RTX 4090 Matrix. I just bought it on CaseKing for like 3,500 euro. But then I received this email stating that I won it because the people who outbid me with like 17,000 or even above, they just didn't reply to ASUS anymore. So shame on you for like not replying to a charity auction. And yeah, here we have it, the RTX 4090 Matrix. You surely saw the Seasonic MagFlow fans in one of my videos before. Seasonic also offers them in an ARGB version. With a different fan blade design, RGB inside the frame and also subtle RGB in the center, these fans focus on both design and performance. The MagFlow ARGB are also daisy chainable and can easily be expanded and connected by the integrated magnets that couple the fans without additional clips or tools. Seasonic also includes a small RGB controller if you want to avoid annoying software issues. Find out more in the link below. We're now switching to a short clip which I recorded in Taiwan last year. Maybe we can meet her, maybe you can even see the card in person.
Alright, so a very interesting evolution because they were actually surprised that I'm here and as surprised as I was that I'm getting the card, and then I asked if I can maybe look at it already here, and they said the card is not here because the card was like refurbished at the factory, because obviously when the card was signed during Computex it was not the final state yet. So it was assembled in the factory and then they tried everything to make it happen that the card is delivered here, and here we are at ASUS HQ, and I'm supposed to get the card in a few minutes. Nice. There it is. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So there it is. The special Matrix with Jensen's signature. Now I just have to find a way to get this back to Germany.
ASUS then handed over this card in person. It was the marketing director of ASUS. It was quite nice. I was able to inspect the card in person, but they still sent it over to me over air freight because it was not that convenient to take this card to me in the plane. That's the Matrix, signed by Jensen Huang. I always ask myself, why did he put two Matrix? Didn't make a lot of sense to me. Anyway, I just want to address one thing, because when all of this happened, when I won the auction, there was also some news outlets that reported about this entire thing, and I saw quite a bit of mixed comments about the entire thing. I just want to highlight and address that I would not spend this amount of money for a normal RTX 4090, like no matter which signature is on it. It was mainly because it was a good cause. It was for Make-A-Wish. They even reached out to me, or I asked them to reach out to me afterwards so I could see what they're making or what they're doing with this money. And they used it for different causes. For example, this one they sent to me where the money was used for Nano. He's a 14-year-old that was diagnosed with cancer, and you can imagine that he is not going to have a nice time. And to make his time a little bit better, he was hoping to get a new gaming PC, which is something I can personally absolutely understand. There's nothing better getting like away from reality by having a nice gaming session. And yeah, the money was used for multiple cases like this one, where they were able to get new gaming PCs for people in need. And that is only possible because of you watching the videos. It's not because I'm transferring the money, it's because of your time. Because only your time that you're spending watching all my videos like this one or the previous videos, gets me this income to being able to do something like that. So thank you to everybody watching the video, because you are the true people donating it to him and making things like this possible. What I want to address with the video though is something completely different, because when I got my first RTX 4090 Matrix, it was not to keep it, it was just for a short time period to test it. I was not too happy about the cooling solution. Like, firstly, this not being nickel plated, and secondly, you know, it's a $3,500 card and it's with an AIO. I mean, it worked nice, the cooling performance was good, but personally, I expected more something for custom water cooling. I'm not sure about you, but that's just something I expected. And yeah, in the end, I ended up making this myself for my other Matrix. That's what we will look at later. But first, I want to test if this even works, because I never used it so far. 1 year later, still from my perspective, the most beautiful 4090 that was available for sale. It's not anymore, obviously, because of the limited edition, but still, just from how it looks, I think it's an absolutely beautiful design. And even with the RGB, it definitely makes the card look even better. It would be nice if a $16,000 card would actually post. So far it doesn't. Just trying the different PCIe slot if this helps. Decided to attach a wire view. That sometimes helps to see if the card is doing something. 35 at least, something. I just swapped to the Strix just to double check. But it's also doing D6, because I just thought, okay, it just can't be that this one doesn't post, right? I mean, that would be the most expensive RMA I would have to do. I'm not even sure if that's possible, but luckily or unluckily, I'm not sure, this is also doing D6, so no post. Seems like I have to swap the setup. It was the CPU for whatever reason. I just swapped from 7950X to 7950X 3D, and now it works. Not sure what exactly was wrong, but yeah, for a second I thought, oh man, that's gonna be difficult, but very happy it works now. Everything working now, I'm quite relieved, and also temperatures look good on this one. We have below 30 degrees Celsius in idle on the GPU and below 40 on the hotspot. We're getting some comparison values first with this card, and it has been running for about 20 minutes in gaming load, and here we can see temperatures. GPU temperature about 48 to 49 degrees Celsius, hotspot about 56 to 57, memory between 74 and 76 degrees Celsius. We now have the comparison value for this card, which is scientifically not correct. It's also something I criticized myself before, but we already disassembled the other card months ago to do the design for the water block, which is, yeah, we cannot revert it back to original state. So I just wanted to have some comparison value, but it just is not correct to compare one card with another one, because you will have some tolerances in mounting of the block and also two individual GPUs, which will also be slightly different. But the point is, when I saw the 4090 Matrix first, I was like, I mean, there's the water block inside with the pump sitting on top, and here we have the tubing exiting the back. I thought it's so obvious to turn it into a custom water-cooled card. You just don't need the pump and don't need the tubing, just the connectors for the water block, and that's it. I think it would have been even cheaper, and that's what we did. Fast forward, this is my other 4090, the one that I bought before I realized that I won the auction. It's completely disassembled. We used it to design this specific water block for this one card. When I talked to other people about this project, they all were like, but who is going to custom water cool the 4090 Matrix? Because they all thought it would remove the original look, which I just wanted to keep. That was the point of the entire project. So that is the original chassis. If you want to look at how the 4090 Matrix looks inside, you can look at my previous video, the one from like 1 year ago, that you can see how it was assembled. Because essentially in this entire big case, only in here we would have the pump. On top we had the copper plate for cooling, and then the tubing exiting the block to the back. That is the back plate. Has some thermal pads on the back side to cool from the back, but that's essentially it. There's not too much inside the normal Asus Matrix. Wir fräsen jetzt die Kupferplatte, aus der dann die Unterseite von dem Kühlkörper bestehen soll. underside or top side, depending on your perspective, is done. That's also the side where we will later mill in the cooling channels, and as you can see by the reflections, that's already a quite nice surface. We then created and milled this custom copper plate, cooling plate for our custom water cooler. It is essentially the same as the original block. That was also the point, to show that it could have easily been a custom water cooled cart with like almost zero effort. So the entire dimensions, outside dimensions, are very similar to the original block. You can see here we have the micro fins milled inside the cold plate for the cooling structure. And everything when it comes to the outer dimension is the same to be able to use the original chassis. Now on the original block you had the pump on here, and we just kept the same outer dimensions but made these two acrylic parts, which are kind of like flow in and flow out. And this centerpiece is a jet plate for the flow distribution. So it's responsible for getting the water into the center of the fins, moving it outside, like input, output. Here we have it assembled, and I can also tell you that the entire design didn't really matter for us at all. It's just a purely functional thing, because once it's back inside the original case, you won't be able to see it anyway. The question was still at this point, how can I get the tubing outside, or will I just run tubing through, like put the block inside, run tubing through here, and then have tubing exit here, which I didn't really like. So we came up with this thing. So a simple acrylic block with double O-ring and some fixture for those brass hard tubes, which I can push in here, also fix it with the two screws. And this should nicely run through here, exits right here, and would allow me to have normal G1/4 threads exiting the block. There's one difference to the original block design when it comes to like paste and pad. Everything on the original block except for the GPU is using pads. We decided to go for thermal paste on the memory. So the design has 0.1 millimeter gap between this and the memories. That should be perfect for paste and should also perform better than thermal pads. Now only remaining liquid metal on the GPU. And of course on the block. Also reusing the original backplate. It's very good when it comes to even pressure. And just making this myself wouldn't make any sense. Current state, I will now just plug it into the system first, boot it up quickly to see if everything is still running. As long as I don't apply any load, I also don't have to run water through it. For a moment, that's definitely fine. Display signal is there. Card is running, no problem, as you can see. Now you can also see just that the block sits fine. That's what I wanted to check. GPU temperature like 35, hotspot 43, memory 36. And as long as there is no load, like you can see, it's like 15 watt. The copper block can compensate quite a bit until it gets warm. So I will shut it down and continue the assembly. Now also added the terminal. I also added dual O-rings here because these will sit in these, I'm not sure how it's called, but yeah, this is what fixed the original tubing, and so it doesn't move around. Almost done, already added I/O bracket, only the backplate is missing. So far everything seems to fit. I just had trouble figuring out where the original screws went because it's months ago that this one was originally disassembled. And here we have it, a custom water-cooled RTX 4090 matrix that still looks stock. I also like how the chrome-plated hard tubes, the brass hard tubes, are running through the block. It almost looks like this is the stock condition. It just runs perfectly with the entire design. You can't see anything of the block that we made, just a little bit of nickel-plated copper shining through, and well, the acrylic terminal that doesn't look stock, but yeah. If this was done professional, would have maybe went with some different solution, but that was just an easy and working solution. So yeah, time to add it into the loop. The card is connected to the loop and the water is already running through. And I also want to highlight that it's connected to a Mora underneath my desk. And that's also why I pointed out in my original video that custom water cooling for such a card would just be superior, because you can make use of so much more surface area if you have a bigger radiator. As with the original card, also RGB is working, so it looks identical to the original, just with the fact that we can run external water cooling. On this system, I have a flow rate of 127 liters per hour and the water temperature is about 22 degrees Celsius. Already in idle, that is a significant temperature drop. Just above 22 degrees Celsius GPU temperature, very close to the water temperature. Hotspot 30, memory only 22. I used the same gaming scene again to run the card until the temperature evens out, so it doesn't increase anymore, and it is quite a drastic benefit. Can see the GPU temperature is now 36 degrees Celsius, hotspot 42 or like 41, memory 54 to 55. So we're talking about a decrease on the GPU of about 12 degrees Celsius, hotspots about 13 to 14, and memory about 20 degrees Celsius temperature drop. There you can see how much water cooling changes in temperatures. Depending on which we're looking at, we're talking about 10 to 20 degrees Celsius difference, like GPU or memory. That is quite a bit. And we're also looking at a realistic scenario where the card is pulling about 400 watt. If we would look at overclocking, like running 3D Mark with the open power limit and maybe also increase the clock and voltage a little bit, where the card can easily pull 500 watt, the difference would be even bigger. But I on purpose decided to look at a realistic scenario in gaming to also show that this is what a matrix could have been and also should have been, in my opinion. Like, just have terminal outside where you can easily connect it to custom water cooling while still maintaining the nice design that the matrix came with. Maybe Asus, you can change this for RTX 50. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time. Bye bye.